Are you looking to reimagine your midlife? If so, then this is the place to be.
Welcome to Bridging Borders and Empowering Souls.
Hi, I'm Deborah Randolph-Price, and I am a midlife mindset strategist. And with my coaching approach, I dare women 50 and over to rethink their second chapter and to create a new life stage of one of passion, of confidence, and of fun.
Great. And I'm Karen Ruth Moeller, and I help women in professional women, mothers, women who are afraid of taking a next step or afraid of taking that next step. So I help women to become more courageous, to be themselves, to be their crazy selves, and to reconnect with their inner child, with their well, just to have fun as well, just to have fun basically. And well, we are life coaches, both of us, and we have bridged borders. I live in Switzerland.
And I live in New York.
Exactly. And we would like you to take courageous steps out of your comfort zone as you navigate midlife on your terms.
And to support you, we offer regular, inspirational, thought-provoking conversation to reignite your passions. So we're starting today with a topic, and that topic is midlife crisis. Is it real? So let's start with a definition of midlife. When is midlife, Karen, what you've seen?
Well, as with most things, there are lots of varying, opinions. And what I've found is that it's basically a period between the ages of 40 and let's say 70. That kind of covers most of the midlife period. What would you say?
Yeah, that's pretty much, even when we call midlife the second chapter, they say 40 to 70, which is that transitional period. Yeah, so I agree with that. All right, so what is midlife crises? Midlife crises, okay, we hear that a lot. You know, so-and-so's in his midlife crises. He bought a red convertible. She's in her midlife crisis. She quit her job, or, you know, so we hear the term. I just want to clarify for our audience. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I suppose we'd first have to kind of define more closely what midlife, well, no, actually we won't. We just, midlife crisis is basically
crisis, yeah.
Is the time, like, throughout that whole transition phase, when for some people it's very individual. So it's like when we had our period as girls, you know, some people had really massive period pains or PMT or PMS, and others just didn't. You know, I had a friend who said, oh, it's a lie, it doesn't exist. And there I was, you know, with cramps and not being able to go to school and all this. So I think the same can be said for a midlife crisis. It's a very personal and a very individual kind of thing. And I think a lot of things happen with your body. So we were talking just before, and I mentioned that I've never had, you know, I haven't really had these hot flashes, because I basically just, you know, perspired all my life a lot. You know, when I did sport and what have you, I was the one that perspired a lot. So I guess, I don't know.
Maybe you had it and didn't know, right?
Maybe I had it and I didn't know, exactly. But oh dear, I've got the window open.
That's okay.
So so yeah, I think there's a physiological thing, but then there's also the mental, it's like, how do you deal with transition phases? If whether it is physical or in your mind, you'll talk about that, in a minute, about the mind, how we deal with it, how we deal with difficult situations, with change in our life. Yeah.
I agree that this crisis is individual. It's a change, it's a transition. So with any transition, like you said, there are going to be varying ways that people react to it or experience it. According to his is Elliot Jacques, who coined the phrase midlife crises. He was a Canadian scientist, and this is what he said. I'm reading it. He said, a midlife crisis is defined by a feeling of regret, remorse, anxiety over your mortality. Some people may feel overwhelmed by accomplishments that they have not yet achieved or the direction of their life. I found that to be so freaking depressing. No wonder people say, I don't want to get old. This is what I have to look forward to. So yes, there are the midlife crises, or this period is extremes, like you said, with our ministrations, right? Some people may get into deep depressions, others may feel tinges of regret, and then it's got everything else within the middle of that. The issue of, for me personally, mortality, I think about it more because I am getting older, over 60, and I'll say, oh my God, that means only maybe another 20 years or so. Whereas when we were younger, we didn't even think about that. I can remember my mom passed away. She died at age 54. I was 24. People would come to me and say, oh, your mom was so young. And in my head, I'm saying, are they crazy? She's young. Well, when I got to be 55, I thought, oh my God, she was young, so it's relative. But anyhow, the crises comes, I believe, when in how we deal with the changes, like you said, the physical changes. I wake up in the morning doing this, wishing that the sockets here would not be dark, or the little tire around my belly that wasn't there before, or I could get rid of like this. Or in your career, for people who are still working, but in that span of 40 to 70, they may be experiencing ageism. So it's a real thing, and how we react to it determines our mindset and vice versa. All right. So
absolutely. And it's possibly also a time where a lot of women also ask themselves, now what? It's a time when, because you were saying, when you're at work and whether you're at work, whether you have a job or whether you're at home, the kids are growing up and moving out perhaps. And then you're faced with these questions, like you say, of mortality, maybe more on a subconscious level. But it's a time when then people reevaluate their lives up to that point. And then either, you have the choice to get depressed, or you have the choice to do things that you can then step into a new life, so to speak, and go through this transition into a life that maybe it may mean, oh, actually, I really want to change my job, my career, or, I want to travel more, or whatever it is. And then take the more positive route. Right. And I think that's what we're trying to kind of start, like over the next few weeks. We've got some things, some gems, as you so beautifully call them, some gem strategies that we can share with you, what we do and what we also work with our clients. So we thought we'd briefly introduce one of the main ones. We'll start off with with journaling
Yes.
and journaling
Yes.
practices,
Yes.
because the journaling is a way, you know, that I think both of us and many people, in fact, deal with, you know, it's just like, well, we were talking about this before. It's like, I found when I was a child, when I was younger, a teenager, I started writing, journaling, you know, I guess, like you said before, it's a diary.
It's a diary, yeah.
Diary.
Mhm.
And we wrote things, you know, down, and I stopped doing that when the kids were younger because life got in the way, as you know, and I've just recently started again, and I found it so, you know, therapeutic. Is so you can write down all your thoughts after a whole night's sleep. I like writing in the morning after I do a 10-minute meditation, so I'm centered, and then I'm still in that kind of night flow. So my thoughts process through the night, and then in the morning I write it all down. It just comes, sometimes it flows out, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it's just a few sentences. It varies, but that's what I like to do in the morning. And
Well,
really
for me, I've been journaling, I guess, since I was a young girl as well, but we call it having a diary. If you think about it, you know, it's when we were writing down our thoughts, you know, Johnny smiled at me today, or this happened today, or this girl, you know, she said this to me. But we were writing our thoughts and feelings down, keeping them locked up. And yes, many of us through the years might have, you know, thrown that practice out. But the importance of journaling, getting your thoughts out, it's really getting to know yourself again, around what you like or what bothered you, or what a lot of problem solving happens at that point. I think that's why we hear more and more about the word journaling. It's not just, you know, a phase, it really is a thing. And studies really have found that journaling, especially say gratitude, they have found that gratitude journaling can improve our sleep, can improve our quality of life, lowering our stress. And also think about it, if we're releasing tension, if we're being more mindful of who we are, if we're being more mindful of improving, if we're being more mindful of forgiving others and ourselves through journaling, we almost shine like these yellow colors that we have. And that is, so we improve our relationships as well. So this one gem is our first gem that we're sharing about journaling. Sounds simple, it is, and it is individual. Karen likes to do her journaling in the morning. I do too as part of my spiritual practice, but I also have found journaling at night, right before I go to bed, so that I can dump whatever I have that I'm holding. But I also ask myself a question like, what went well today? What would you like to see happen tomorrow? What are you grateful for that happened today? Any one of those questions or all three, it's up to you. But just for me, getting that out allows me to sleep very well. Very well. Yeah.
I love that, the question thing. I know that from, so I've been trying to journal in the evenings as well. And for some reason it hasn't kind of, you know, caught on yet. I'm working on it. Mental fitness helps me to kind of just keep grounded throughout the day. So that's something that I teach with my clients. And one of the wonderful things about the mental fitness program is that in the evening, they ask you a question, a different question every day. So when we look at, you know, and then they suggest you can just write a word. So what's your word of the day? Or you can just write a sentence. This went well, this didn't go so well, I'll try again tomorrow. Or you can just, you know, like you journal, you know, gratitude and what have you, a little bit longer. And what I also would like to really kind of suggest is that everybody's individual, and a lot of people kind of say, oh, journaling, I don't really want to write it down. Now I know you, you know, kind of integrate it in your coaching. You mentioned that. and as part of the process. And I've encountered a lot of, a lot of the time people saying they're not so happy writing. You can record it. You can get your phone and record it. Or that's how I started Instagram ever so many years ago. I just was out walking and I filmed nice things and I thought, oh, okay, I'll try out this Instagram thing. At the time it was relatively new, and then I started taking little films of myself and just recording it that way. So
that's a form, definitely. Yeah. And I like the fact that we're sharing. There are different ways to do it. It's not just with pencil and paper, although there is something to be said about the writing, going through your body and everything like that. But I have recorded things on my phone so that I could hear it back and do some, really deep problem solving and what have you, without the stuff getting in the middle.
Yeah, I have to agree there. I mean, it doesn't replace the writing, but I like to, basically, to kind of get into the routine to begin with, because sometimes it sounds overwhelming. It sounds like this habit that you have to reintroduce or just, maybe you've never done it before. So just, kind of, we would, whether you do it daily, ideally, of course, it's daily, or whether you just do it once a week to begin with, or whether you do it, audio, just as long as you start getting into this practice. That's my kind of suggestion.
Good. So we would like you to tell us, are you already journaling? What have you found to be effective for you? And how can you get in touch with us? Well, you see our websites posted here. And just drop us a note and let us know what you think, because this is the first of many gems that we will be sharing with you. This is the first one. And we just want to remind you that this midlife stage is real. It's just individual. And so when we say real, I like acronyms. So when I say real, I mean this is a time to rediscover, to embrace, to accept, and love your life. REALLL. How about that? So Karen, did you have any parting words for our friends?
Well, I'd just like to reiterate that it's really, that we'd love to hear from you, that we'd love to hear how it goes. If you've never tried it, if you have any questions, you can reach us, you can contact us through our respective websites. My Instagram is the same, Camino Me Coaching, without the .com at the end. So you can find me on Instagram, and we'll put all the information below this video. And
if you want to reach me on Instagram, I'm Coach_Deborah_Price, like the price is right.
Excellent. And I'd love to say thank you for watching. And if you have any suggestions that you'd like us to talk about, then we're open to that as well. We're only starting out, so the whole world is our oyster, so to speak.
As we continue to bridge borders.
Exactly, and empower souls. So we'd love to say thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.